Hello, hello. I am here with Phil Burt. So we're going to do a Q&A, answering your questions that you've asked. So if you want to just have a very quick introduction again of yourself, Phil.
Hi, I'm Phil Burt. I was the head physio at British Cycling for 12 years and Team Sky for 5 years and helped them set it up. And now I've set up my own bike fit service and innovation company.
So thank you so much for agreeing to answer our questions.
Cool.
There's been a lot of questions, so we'll just get straight into it. So, who should get a bike fit?
It's a really good question. The first time I ever lectured about bike fit, I stood up and said, not everybody needs a bike fit, which is a pretty controversial thing to say at a bike fit conference. It comes down to my analogy of human beings and bikes is there some people are macro absorbers. In other words, they're people who can, they're cool kid at school you grew up with, who do all the sports and do anything. Some people have an ability to adapt and get on with anything. Those sort of people may well find that a bike fit isn't massively needed for them because they're not in pain, discomfort, but it doesn't mean they're not optimal. And a great example I give in my first book was Geraint Thomas riding half a stage of the Tour de France on the wrong spare bike. And he didn't know that because he didn't feel it, right? Compare that to say Ben Swift, who I would call a micro adjuster, and and there are many of us. His capacity for absorbing change or a different position or something has changed or is not quite right is very, very minimal, and it throws them right off. Eddie Merckx famously used an Allen key all the time, changing his saddle height and would fiddle with it. So you might recognise some of those things if you cycle a lot within yourself. So my sort of take on it is, I think everybody could benefit from a bike fit, but I'm not going to say that everybody needs one necessarily straight away. I think if you know yourself to be someone who might be a little bit vulnerable to injury, pain, discomfort, you take time to get used to things. It comes down to this: that you're adaptable, the bike's adjustable, and what bike fit does, or good bike fit should really do, is work out which one can adapt a lot, human being, and which one needs more adjusting with the bike. And that's my sort of take on that.
Perfect. So then this kind of leads into the next question is, if you are going to get a bike, when should you do it? Do you do it at the start of your, as soon as you start cycling? Do you do it when you're doing your first sportive? Do you do it just when you get in pain? When would you say is the best?
Well, yeah, that's a really good question. I think, if you're spending a lot of money on a bike for the first time, it would be wise, to spend, at least 10% of what you're spending on that and maybe getting it set up optimally. Why wait for pain to come on? It's not. No one. I can't sit here and say that someone won't buy a bike and work out the ideal position for themselves. What you've got is, a set of ranges of bikes, and if you form within right in the middle of the normal distribution curve by using formulas and very basic methods, you might well get really, really close to something that works for you. But many of us exist outside those normal ranges for very good reasons, our injury history, so on and so forth. So I would invite, the way I definitely want to do it myself would be from a first principles point of view is let's work out the optimal bike fit window for you and get you into that, and then you can probably fine tune it from yourself from there. It all depends as well what your goal is. So if you're going to at the start you're saying I want to start cycling for work, then the pressures on a commuting bike, if you said, aren't that big. But if you're saying I want to ride across America within 1 year, like you do, or something, then obviously you're going to put a lot more load for your body, and you might want to think about how it is going to be loaded.
Perfect.
All right.
Hope that helps. So the next question is it worth getting a bike fit if you're riding a hybrid bike, maybe like 100k? Is it just for road bikes? I think that's the question.
No. I don't think that's true at all, because the principles behind fit still exist for a hybrid bike, just the same mountain bike setup. So a hybrid bike is no less in the load that you have to put yourself through to cycle 100 miles is exactly the same, if not more actually, because a hybrid bike you're probably going to be a bit more unaerodynamic and push more air, which means you're going to have to push more. You're going to probably have to power. So to go the same time, you'll have to commit more power to it. So no, I think I think that's a bit of a misnomer that a hybrid bike is just more comfortable. I see plenty of people who've set themselves up for comfort completely, what they think, and they've actually gone too far in the wrong direction. So if you think saddle lower, further back, traditionally like a more recumbent position, sometimes that can be completely the wrong thing to do because you put a lot of weight on your lumbar spine on the back. So I think if you're riding 100 miles, you'd be hopefully thinking about how you're going to do that, and even if it's yourself getting intelligent about it, reading books, looking at online stuff like this, or sometimes you might know I've got a certain injury type history, or I know I break down easy here, or I have people come in who've had multiple fractures for the body. The big thing is, cycling's nearly good for all injuries. The first thing physios do is they put people on a bike. Think about it.
Yeah.
After a knee injury or any surgery, what do they start with? We don't start with running. That's quite hard.
Yeah.
Right? And it's great to do. Cycling has low eccentric forces, and it's a 2D sport really. So it's not like football where we sprint over there and change direction, which is a lot of load on the body. But it does impose a postural load on the body. So if we're going to cycle 100 miles in one go, there's not many other sports where you don't move as much of that.
No. You're in a very fixed position,
Yeah.
so you need to make sure that you...
Yeah, you need to make sure by whatever methods and means you can, and bike fit is one of those, where, that's it.
Perfect. So I hope that one helps. Next question is, and this is a question I'm very interested in the answer as well. So I'm in between standard frame sizes. Should I take the bigger or smaller frame? And that is because basically the person that's asking this has got long legs and a short reach, which is what I have. I've got long legs but a really short reach. So should you go for a smaller bike and try and increase size, or go for the bigger bike and try and shrink yourself down on it?
It's a really good question, and people do get caught between bike sizes. So if you have long legs and a short torso or back, the one thing you can't do to a bike is shorten the reach stupidly, because the top tube length is what it is. And of course, when you come to stem length, you've got to be careful there. Anything shorter than 90, I say, you kind of start compromising the handling of the bike, and anything longer than 140, you're taking your centre weight way over the front of the wheel. So again, you're getting very twitchy and it can be dangerous. So you've got between 90 and 140 to play with. So what I would say is you basically, with that person with a short back, you've got to get the reach right and short enough so they can reach the handlebars. And hopefully, what you need to check is that frame will have enough seat tube height for you to get the long legs accommodated with the appropriate seat height. There are a lot of different frames these days, so the race frames tend to be very, what we call longer reach and low stacks. They might be not the ones for that person. So in between frame sizes, look at the type of frame. So Roubaix, for example, a specialised Roubaix and other companies out there is for more long distance riding. They'll have a higher stack and reach, as we call it, and that may be where you can get, because loads of seat tube showing sometimes can be a bit dangerous. Apart from the fashionistas of cycling, you think, oh, you can't have that much seat tube. I would say that that's the way forward. So you have to work out your anthropometrics and then go, okay, and be just a little bit intelligent about the frame you choose.
So your advice would be then to try and go for the smaller to make sure that the reach is right, and then you can kind of adjust from there. But you can't, because that's the problem I had with mine, is that the other bike that I had, the reach was just too long, and I've tried to change stuff and it just would not. I couldn't get it to feel comfortable. Yeah,
and that's really important. It's rare, but where people get really, they're compromised in that way. And you think about it, the opposite way around, people with short legs and long backs, if you ever look at Chris Boardman when he's presenting, the reason why he can be so aerodynamic is he can really hinge over that long back and get very low. So in that case, I would say what you should be looking for is a frame with a longer top tube and lower stack, because basically then your short legs can be accommodated, because it's not so much, and that's the more racy type geometry that pros have, where you've got a big drop to the front, and then hopefully you can get to between those points. There are some people who are literally just completely compromise both, but normally with the steps now, the bike companies have been better in providing steps, and especially what I'm pushing for, and is happening, is for women is smaller sizes, for because women don't really need different geometry. What they do need is smaller bike frames because women tend to start smaller than the men do, and there. So I think with those sort of things, using those lines of intelligence, you can hopefully get there.